Hey, Amber.
Hey Tanya, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So, what you got going this week? Anything good, fun?
Ugh, not a thing.
Getting ready for Legion's Con?
Yes, trying to save up all my time for Legion's Con.
That's
I'm like, don't
right.
take off. Don't think about taking off. Don't even look at it.
Yes, and I didn't even think to have them over here. I've already got them packed up, but we've got our ribbons in, which I'm super excited about. And
Yay!
then we have our Legion's Ladies Live stickers to give
Mm-hmm.
out to everybody. And we are actually going to have Legion's Ladies new logo stickers as
Yeah.
well. Um, they're going to be brought to Legion's Con, so I won't have them until I don't know if I'll have them Thursday or Friday, but we'll have those at Legion's Con as well. Um, you have your Ambers for a Day stickers that
Yes.
are amazing. Love,
They're
love,
so
love.
fun. Thank you to David
Um,
Williams for creating my head.
Woohoo! What else do we have? What else? Oh, there's going to be other stuff, I'm sure.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to see the Legion's Ladies T-shirt
Oh, I know.
in person. It's so
It's so
cool.
awesome.
Um, and thank you again to Nate, for all of his hard work on the new logo and everything that he has done for us. We cannot wait.
Yes.
To rep the brand for sure. All right. Do you want to check on who's in the chat and then we can bring our guest on?
Absolutely. Let's start at the top. We have Mr. Kevin McCoy
Hey,
out there
honey.
living his best life in Cancun.
Yes.
Curtis Ackerman, Heinrich. We got Stacy Lynn. Curtis again. Hello, Curtis. And then we've got Jordan. Stacy Lynn. We got some Curtis. We have Brian Lynn. Both the Lynns. We have Kirby. And we have Pete. Michael Morales. Rob Zamora. Let's see. Jeff Evans. We have Lauren. Hello, Lauren. And Michael Casper. Jackie. And Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey. Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us. And if
Oh, and we have somebody is their wife is watching. Heinrich's wife is watching.
yay! Hi,
Yay! We
Anna.
love that. Welcome.
Yes. We hope you enjoy the show, Anna, and come back and watch us all the time. Join
All
us
the
on
time.
Legion's Ladies in Facebook
Mm-hmm.
because we would
And if
love
you're
to
at
have you
Legion's
there.
Con, come say hello.
Yes, please, please do. Um, all right. We are, last count, 2 people away from 100 on Legion's Ladies and on our cabal. Legion's Ladies in on Facebook.
That's so exciting. We're so
I
close.
know. We need 2 more, just 2 more, so
Just
we hit 100. So if you have a lady, Legion's Ladies on Facebook, and if
Everybody
you're
go.
yes,
As long as you're a
and
lady.
if you are not subscribed, please go subscribe to the channel. We are so close to 500. And so we are looking forward to seeing everybody. So we have the best guest tonight. We are so excited to have him with us. Whew, way across the country. But we are super happy that he was able to take some time and join us here tonight as we get to know Mr. David Williams. Hey, David.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great, thank you for having me. I
Oh,
don't know that I'm the best, but I
you
appreciate that.
well, we've seen your work. You're pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
Pretty much the best.
Oh, see you later. That's it.
Oh, um, David, we've seen you. I have been blessed, and I know Amber has as well, being able to hang out with you probably at Legion's Con for a few years, as
Hmm.
well as you and I were able to hang out a little bit and talk at IshCon
Yeah.
this past year, which was awesome, and we're going to get into all that. But as much as we've like had the opportunity to see each other and kind of get to know each other, like I don't feel like I really know you yet. So we have
On a really
all the
personal level.
questions to really get to know David.
So it's about to get really weird.
We love it.
Amber and I are okay with weird.
I'm definitely pretty weird.
Yeah. Before we get into all that, though, we all know Legion's Con is so close.
So close.
I know.
Let's see. 14 days till intern.
Wow. That's
We're
awesome.
gonna be Amber for a day for intern.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Welcome, everyone.
So we are so excited. Now, schedule of events. David, is there anything on the schedule of events that you are particularly looking forward to? Now, I know as a vendor, there's a lot of things that you may not be able to catch, but is there anything that you're specifically looking forward to during the week?
I'm always excited for G-Con. I love new figures. Like I love all the new waves. So it's always cool to get just entirely new pieces and characters, and I like the way that they develop the story every time. And it's just kind of a special experience to be there in person with all of them. It's so incredibly charming the way that they present a figure wave.
Mhm.
So G-Con is super special. I'm a big fan, and my wife is going to kill me, so I'm going to be at their live recording.
Me
Um,
too.
so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
How did I not
And
get an invite?
and then
Tanya, you gotta keep your eyes peeled.
like everybody else, I'm super excited to just see everybody again. We do on Friday nights we do a Legions chat, and we all get to catch up quite a bit. But it doesn't compare to being able to sit with each other in person and just just catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday night Legions chat. So I am usually up at 4 a.m. East Coast time on Friday mornings. So me being up at 10 o'clock East Coast time to jump on Legion's chat is not going to happen.
Yeah, that's all right. It's a fun night. It usually it's pretty crowded at first, and we all kind of talk over each other and talk about the weirdest stuff, and then by the end of the night, there's like three or four of us that just stay up all night long, and we just go on tangents about literally anything.
That's
I
amazing.
love that.
That's awesome. All right. So you are a vendor again this year, David.
Yep.
What table are you at?
I'm sharing a table with Stephen Bisciotti, the Lord Stephen Bisciotti, table 7.
Okay. So you are right beside Emil as well.
Yeah, we're right next to Emil, and then Patrick and Nate. We're kind of part of like last year. It was like the Wolf King block,
Yeah.
because all these guys are Wolf King guys anyway.
Right.
It's a wonderful spot to be because it's right at the opening, so you kind of get to see everybody walk in and chit chat. And I spent a lot of time with Steven last year. I'm really excited to just hang out and like be at a table with him.
Yeah,
Um,
That's so cool.
that is cool.
yeah.
All right. So, David, it's going to be table 7.
Hmm.
Don't want to miss him and all of his great stuff. I was trying to see if there was anything else. Oh, armory experience. What colors, if you do 2, what colors are you looking forward to doing, David?
I want to do. I want to do the purple classic night, like the one that they showed, like the original Mythic Legions, uh, like premiere thing that they showed. They showed a couple of just like random figures, and one of them was that purple knight. So it'd be cool to do that, but I think I'm going to do it with leather armor
Oh, yeah.
um, and then probably one of the green ones. I think that the
Okay.
green is really nice. Um, Either way, I'm thinking of it more like a trinket from the show than like a thing with parts, because it's like none of the parts are anything that I don't have extras of.
Right.
So it's just kind of my Legion's Con memorabilia, you know. So no matter what it is, it's just going to be, the things I got at Legion's Con.
Right. Gotcha. Well, Amber, have you made any choices on which 2 you specifically want to make sure you get?
Of course, I'm also going purple and green. They're just like, those ones just really stand out to me. The red
Yeah, they're
one's
just
like
kind of.
too much of like a blood red for me. And the other
Mhm.
two, they just pop.
Yeah, I like that they're so unique. As a like, I like the red a lot, but I'm cool with having just the blood armor, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Vorgus. So I have a red knight, and then the gunmetal one is really cool, but it's just so standard. It's like a standard
Yeah.
knight, which would be awesome in a collection if you're just collecting knights or whatever. But I like the wild colors. I think it'll be a fun addition.
Yeah, I think Kevin is going to go for the red and green, so I will
Hmm.
probably do the purple and gunmetal,
Cool.
just
Oh,
so
that's
that
smart.
we have a variety, you know.
Yeah.
So, all right, that is so. Looking forward to Legion's Con, and we cannot wait to see everybody. So,
Hmm.
David, you are in Arizona.
Yep. Tucson,
So
Arizona.
Eastern Standard Time for you, that puts you what, 3 hours behind?
Yeah. So I live in the past while you guys are in the future.
I
If you could
love
send me some of those lottery numbers, maybe we can work something out.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah,
Um,
we daylight savings time changes before Legion's Con. So
November 3rd.
yeah, so I'll actually, I'll be an hour closer, which is going to be cool because when I get to Legion's Con, I'm still 3 hours behind on a sleep schedule and on an eat schedule, on everything schedule. So um, that first morning is usually pretty rough for me because it's like, you know, in Tucson time, I wake up at 5 a.m. on that Thursday,
Right,
rather
Oh.
than 8 to make it to intern or whatever.
right.
So
So I guess that was the one where I was going with this is how long does it take you to kind of get acclimated once you get here?
oh, it's the first day. That's it.
Uh,
It's just that first morning, um, and I mean it's just like the energy that Legion's Con has, or intern, or just all of that. The energy that it has just kind of you don't really need to sleep a full 8 hours that whole week
Right.
Oh no.
because it's like you don't want to miss anything, and because it's at the hotel, you can go back upstairs and just kind of relax if you want to. But there were only a couple of times where I just went upstairs and sat around. You know, most of the
Right.
time I just wanted to hang out.
Okay.
I value these people quite a bit. So it's nice to have them in person just for that little amount of time. You know, I'll catch up on sleep a different day.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah, I think by Monday we're all going to be a lot sleep deprived for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. And it's such a bummer ride home because it's like I felt like even last year, like my terminal wasn't anywhere near anyone else's. Um, I was in this like underground terminal, and I was just like me and this one lady, and I was like, I just had the best weekend, and this is it. This is how it ends up. Me and some lady sitting in a terminal in New Jersey.
Oh, poor David. So when are you coming in?
I come in Wednesday evening. I fly in around 7, and then I'll take an Uber or whatever. I haven't talked to Thomas Belay yet, but I think he might fly in around the same time.
Okay.
We try and kind of link up as much as we can
Right.
to fly in together or similar times, because it's kind of our crew, you know,
Right. Yep.
our little Zone A crew.
And then when are you flying out?
I fly out Monday afternoon, so I don't even have to wake up early on Monday.
Oh,
Like, it's
good.
just regular checkout time. I think I'll leave the hotel at like 11.
Gotcha.
You know.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Let's get to some questions. David, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tucson, here in Tucson. I'm the youngest of 6, and the whole family traveled quite a bit. My dad was in the Navy, and then when they settled down in Tucson, my mom had me and my sister that's closest in age. We were surprises. That's what they like to call it. So I'm 10 years younger than our older sister. Like, we separated by me and Teresa is my sister. She's only 2 years older than me, but then there's 10 years in between me and my other sister. So
how much of a difference is between you and the oldest?
Oh, he just turned 60 and I'm 44. So if you guys want to do the math, put it in the chat. You know, I'm not going to bother. I have to do the math every time. I'm like, Pam is 10 years, and then 2 years in between everyone else. And that's why I draw pictures for a living. Like, I don't know. I'm not good at math.
16 years.
16 years, yeah. So 16 years, me and my wonderful brother, Bill, which I have a funny story about that I'll tell real quick. So my name is David Williams. My whole family is Williams. My brother's name is Bill, or I thought when I was a kid. And I was in 4th grade, and they were doing roll call, and the teacher called out a kid named William. And he goes, "I'm here. I go by Bill." And I was like, "Why do you go by Bill?" And he goes, "Well, Bill is short for William." And I was like, "No way. My brother's name is Bill." And he was like, "Well, your brother's name is William then." And I was like, "My brother's name can't be William Williams." And so that day after school, I went to my mom, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, what's Bill's name?" And she was like, "Oh, yeah, he's William. He was named after whatever." And I'm like, "That's insane." Insane. So yeah, I'm 16 years younger than William Williams.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah. So my husband, Kevin, and his sister, Krista, there's 16 years and 3 days between them.
Oh, wow.
And there's no other children.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, my parents left out. Like, my brother wasn't into it. I mean, I'm sure he was fine with it when we were born, but whatever. But my sisters were super stoked to like help raise the babies.
Right.
So like I had a pretty cool upbringing. My parents were together my whole life.
Right.
All my siblings just kind of raised us. So we had a pretty good time.
That's awesome.
I have a pretty incredible family. So
Dorclair said, "Is his middle name D? Is his
No.
middle initial D? William
You
D.
want to know
Reed."
the Billy D? No. You want to know the craziest thing? I don't know what his middle name is. Like I think it's either James or Robert. William Robert, William James. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. But I don't know. It took me a long time to call him William, so I still
Right.
call him Bill. And he thinks it's hilarious because he goes by Bill now, or William now. So when I visit him, he's like, he thinks it's so bizarre to be called Bill.
Yeah,
Like, well, that's how I knew you.
that's cool.
Yeah,
So
Billy Bob Williams.
that's funny. So do you like with the difference between you and your sister are 2 years, and then
Mhm.
you and your sister above that are 10 years difference. Like when you were growing up, did like the toys that your older brothers had, I mean, were those passed down? Did you get some of
Yeah,
those? Is that kind of like
sort
where
of.
collecting, or like how did that work?
So I was born in 1980. So I I was like in the the action figure boom, like that's when I grew up. So it was like I just had action figures. Um, but I was given, I remember my first big thing of action figures that came from my brother and then one of my neighbors that was like friends with my brother. They just gave me a milk crate full of toys that was like old, early, like the 82 GI Joes and all the Star Wars figures and weird vehicles and stuff. And those are what introduced me to like specific named characters like GI Joe characters or Star Wars. Um, the two that stood out that were my favorite characters. I was probably like, I don't know, I was probably like 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, and I had a C3PO, which is like it's a vac metal figure, like the original C3PO, and then Chewbacca. And I thought they were so cool because I had this, this golden robot and this werewolf man, and I had never seen Star Wars, so I would play with them like this awesome robot that could fly and he could do all this cool stuff, and this werewolf man that could just like, he was just like this beast. And then I finally saw Star Wars and realized that C3PO was like the butler and Chewbacca was like a dog man. but yeah, I had a pile of Star Wars figures that I had no idea what they were until I saw Star Wars.
Right.
And I think I saw Return of the Jedi first. I think, yeah, so I think 87 or whenever that, 85? Yeah, 85 is when I first saw Star Wars, and it was Return of the Jedi, and then I went backwards.
Yeah. Oh, Bill had another question. Has your brother ever owned a Corellian fighter? Corellian fighter? Freighter? Corellian freighter.
No. I'm nearly positive that my brother and Lando Calrissian are different people. But I don't know. I don't see my brother that often, and I've never seen him in the same room. So
there you go.
But my brother always had really bizarre cars. Like I still learn stories about my brother's vehicles that are like how he got them, which is just weird, or that they were just like, I mean, that's a whole thing. My family stories are a totally different show.
Oh, I can't wait for that one. We're gonna have to come back and just talk family stories.
Yeah.
Joe Gonzalez. Anyone else disappointed David didn't say Lando was his favorite? Oh, that's hilarious.
I did love this. That Skiff Guard Lando was one of my favorite figures because he had the removable helmet.
Right.
And I liked anything that had like a removable helmet or like storage, like anything that you could put on their back and then like put the weapons in, like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Those were the best toys.
Gotcha. So let's go back to your hometown. Like, what is one of your favorite things about your hometown?
It's kind of so all of my siblings have moved away, and I've gotten to visit a lot of places over the period of time that they've gone in and out, and I've just stayed here. Um, and it's our town, like Tucson's kind of small, but it still feels like a big city. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like we don't have like highways. Like it's a grid. Our whole state or the whole city is a grid. It's just north, south, east, and west, and that's it.
Wow.
So it's kind of a pain to get all the way across town because you have to drive through town. But it's cozy, and it's the people here are really cool. It's still kind of the Wild West, but it's a pretty progressive Wild West. You know.
Yeah. Neat city. Tucson is just a
Mhm.
really neat city. It is
We
really
also have a geographic anomaly in Tucson. It's called Mount Lemmon, and at the base of it, it's the desert, and it's a big winding road. It takes about an hour to get at the top, but the top is a forest. So about halfway up, you stop seeing saguaro cactus, and you get up, and it's just pine trees, and then all the way at the top, it's just this beautiful woodland forest.
that
Oh,
is
that's so
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah, and it's 20 minutes away from my house, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really neat.
That is neat. I like that.
I know. Um, do you still have any of those action figures, the Star Wars, the
I I do have a lot of my Star Wars figures. Um, I kept most of those, and then I acquired vintage. I think I have all but three of the original like Star Wars figures from 1977 to 89, I think. So I think it's like 87 figures or something like that. I have them all except for the weird ones, like the rare, super rare ones, like Yak Face or not Yak. Yeah, it was Snaggletooth, like the blue Snaggletooth and
right.
the weird stuff like that. I still have my original Lion-O. He's actually in this package over here,
Oh
hanging
yeah.
on the wall. I just have him in a clamshell. He still lights up. He still has the ring.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I
that's
have
awesome.
all my old Ninja Turtles. I never went through a cool stage, like too cool for toys.
Yeah.
So I I'm also one of those grown-ups that has a storage unit. Like I can't put it all in my house, but I can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I do have a lot of my old toys.
That's awesome. It's great that you were able to keep them. I know
Hmm.
so many stories we get from
Hmm.
Mhm.
guests whose
There,
parents are like, "Oh no, we got to get rid of all of these."
yeah.
And you're like,
Well,
And then there's like
there
the
were,
complete opposite. They like hoard everything.
right.
yeah. So I was right in between that. So like there was times where I would like go to look for something, and my mom was like, "Oh, I threw it away. You don't play with it." I'm like, "Well, now I'm heartbroken," but then I would just play with a different toy. But um, I was right in between that because there was things like I don't know where a lot of my toys went because my mom, when I moved out, there were bins at my mom's house full of toys, and then when she moved out of our like childhood home, her and my dad moved to a different house, and those bins didn't go with them. I don't know what they did with them, if they sold them, gave them away, donated them, whatever. Um, but a lot of the stuff I've been carrying around my whole life, like every time I move, which isn't often. But I've always had a handful of bins that are just full of like my toys.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Um, when you look back at like all your figures, and I know you talking about playing with C3PO and Chewbacca, but like if you had to narrow it down to like one or two of your absolute favorite from when you were a kid that you still just love today, what figures would it be?
Um, a couple of GI Joes were real special to me, but I would say the Playmates Ninja Turtles, like, and that's a set. You can't have just one.
Right.
So all four Ninja Turtles, and then I also had one of those big, the giant Ninja Turtles that they actually recently remade. I still have that, and that's one of my like prized possessions. I just love that toy.
Right.
I carried him around, brought him all over the place with me because he was like, I mean, he was enormous, and I was a little guy, you know. So probably turtle stuff
Yeah.
if I had to. I keep my vintage turtles at the shop,
Oh,
so
that's cool.
they're just like set up on my station there.
That's
But yeah, definitely those original four turtles were something special.
Did you go to college after
I
that?
didn't.
You didn't. Okay.
My 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 weird life. I actually didn't finish high school. I dropped out of high school. I was a bad kid, like bad teenager. Like I immediately like I was like smoking and I was like drinking and I was like a teenager, you know, like I was just bad. Um, and then I dropped out of school. I moved out of my mom's house, and then realized I needed to get a job pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I've just been my first job I got when I was 17. Um, I got a job at Toys R Us, which was
What a
awesome. And then I
perfect
just
job.
yeah, and then I worked there for like 8 years, and then made my way to the rest of the world. But um, I always wanted to do art for a living, and then when I kind of got into tattoos or getting tattoos, um, I thought, you know, that would be a cool route for me to go, where I wouldn't have to go to school and I wouldn't have to whatever. I mean, and it's been a hell of a time, like being a professional tattooer, because I mean, it's you work as much as you want, but if you don't work, you don't make any money.
Right.
So it's a full time job, and I've been doing it for nearly 20 years, if not a little more. Um, and that's it. And it's like it's almost like it was in a blink of an eye that I dropped out of school and now I'm a grown up, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, I've just been, I've been in bands, I played music, I did all that stuff in between.
So when did like art come in? I mean, like you were a kid, you were drawing.
Yeah,
I mean, what?
yeah, it's
Talk to us about
I
like what made you want to do art? Like, what was that? Where did that
um
come from? Where did it start?
my dad was a pretty good artist, and then my sister Teresa, who's closest in age, she was a really good artist. So we would just draw when we were kids, and then I just started drawing. Mostly, I would draw my toys, and I would have like a guy, and I would draw him, and I would, make up a new story for him, and then I would make up new characters, and it got to the point where my mom used to have these little notebooks in her purse, and she would have like a little zipper thing of pens and pencils, and that's just what I did. Like if it was a doctor's appointment or church or whatever we did, I always just had a pen and paper, or pencil and paper, and that's all I would do. So it was my entire life. As long as I can remember, I've been drawing pictures.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was, as unhappy as my family was that I didn't finish school when I got into doing art somewhat professionally before I became like a full-time tattooer. They were pleased to see that I stuck with it, and they're so incredibly supportive now. Like they love it all. So
That's
I
amazing.
kind of came out on top in that situation.
Yes, you did. And you came out on top for us too. So just so you know. Do you have any hobbies that you enjoy that don't circle around like figures or art? I mean, is there anything outside of that that you really love?
It's it's kind of weird because I I would say that I don't, but I do enjoy certain things. Like I like I've been running lately. Like I'll go every day. I go for a run. I've been doing that for a couple of years now. Like that's just like my nightly routine. And I'll lose it sometimes when it's 120 degrees here. I don't go for a run. Um, I do enjoy that. Um, I'm a I'm a real like I'm a tinkerer, so I'll like fix things and I'll go out of my way. Like I rent my house, but it's a pretty unique situation. So I painted it and I repaired all the windows and I recaulked the sinks and like just like repaired it, just made it a nicer place than I moved in
Right.
to. And it's only because me and my landlord have a relationship where he's okay with that. Um, because one time something broke and he was out of town and I was like, well, can I just fix it? And he was like, yeah, go for it. And I fixed it and I sent him a receipt and it cost him $25 and that was it. And he was like, well, if you can fix stuff, then you can fix stuff, you know, and just send me
Right.
the receipts. And I was like, all right, cool. So it's a triplex. So I take care of the girls behind me too. There's two women that live in the houses next to me. So when they need stuff with done around the house, whether it's changing out a washer or whatever, I'll just do that. Um, I don't know. I think that's my hobby. I like to have purpose. I like to
Right.
do things. I try not to be too lazy too often. But my hobbies being art and figures, it's like to get to do them for a living too is pretty cool. Because I mean, there's definitely stuff I don't want to draw for work, and that's when it's work. But
Right.
when I run out of stuff to do, I just draw characters or I draw whatever I want. I love drawing still.
Right.
So
So you
yes.
told us that your first job was, well, like after you moved out, your first job was at Toys R Us. Did you have a
Hmm.
job before that while you were living at home? Or is that basically your first
No,
job?
I was I was just living at my mom's house.
No.
When I when I moved out with my sister. When she moved out, I moved into a place with her, and I didn't have a job. Like I had to get out of the house. I was like,
Right.
I had to be my own person. Um, but yeah, and then I had to get a job immediately because I was broke
Right.
and we didn't have any food. Like
Right.
it was me and my sister that was 2 years older than me. So,
Right.
um, and then in between that, I mean, I've had so many weird jobs. Like I worked at Toys R Us for 8 years, and then I was approached by a woman that ran a snow cone stand. Really bizarre. And she was at Toys R Us, and she was like, you got really good energy. She was like one of those like real spacey people. And she was like, you have really great energy. How much do you make here? And I was like, I told her what I made, and she was like, if I can pay you that if you just work at my snow cone stand. And I was like, okay. So I just quit my job with health insurance and all that other stuff, and I worked at a snow cone stand for 2 years, and
Wow.
it was awesome. It was the weirdest job. Um, and then I cleaned houses for a little bit. Um, I was a courier for 48 hours. That was the worst job I ever had. I couldn't find anything because it was before like GPS or anything, so you just had an address and they would just tell you a general area. I'm like, I can't really figure this out. And then after that, my friend he opened a video game store, and I worked for him for a handful of years.
Wow. So
Yeah.
out of those jobs, not including the tattoo stuff because that's coming in. I do want to talk about that. But out of those that you just listed, like if you had to pick one that was like your favorite, which one would it be?
Oh, it's Toys R Us for sure. Toys R
Absolutely.
Us was awesome. Like, I started out as the maintenance guy who just goes and gets carts and like cleans up whatever. And then they needed a bike builder, so I started building bicycles. So I would clock in, I would just go to the back and I would build bicycles all day long.
Oh
And
wow.
it was just like I didn't have to talk to anybody, I didn't have to do anything. And then shortly after that, their video game guy got fired for stealing or whatever. And I had worked there long enough that they were like, okay, we can trust David. We'll do like a background check. And then I was just the video game guy. And I did that for years. Like I was just in charge of the video game department.
Huh.
Cool.
So yeah, it was fun. And then I still have friends now. I still talk to people that I worked with at Toys R Us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was a pretty cool job. And and we would do that thing where we would go to work, we'd all get off of work and go to one of our houses and then just party all night, go back to work the next day.
That's cool.
So it was a cool situation.
So we know that you're a tattoo artist now. Um, if if being a tattoo artist wasn't something like that you really wanted to do, is there like something that you can think of that would be considered the perfect job for you? Something, a career that you would like that, isn't tattooing, but something that is just like you think to yourself, this would be the perfect career.
It's so non-glamorous. Either like construction or like a handyman. Like I love doing that. Like when it's yard work time for me, it's like my whole day, and I do everything. Like I re-landscape every time I do it. I move all the rocks around, and it's just like a whole day of just like this peaceful zen that I do. So I really enjoy it.
That's
So I
crazy.
think, yeah, just a
That's
handyman or
awesome.
a landscaper or something.
That's amazing. So does anybody ask you to like draw up like a landscaping
Oh no, nothing like that.
plan or anything like that?
No, no, I don't really lend myself to like my art to people outside of like my true comfort zones, you
Right.
know. So I can draw characters and logos and tattoos and stuff, but some people are like, "Hey, can you draw some bizarre geometric mathematical thing?" And I'm like, I don't know how to do that, so I won't, you know.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
And
I get that.
I'm even fairly new to digital art. Like I'd say in the last like 5 years I started using digital art, but I
Oh
was
wow.
pen and paper for most of my life.
Um,
Curtis.
Here I thought David was perfect, and he says he likes yard work. It's like seeing Drago bleed for the first time and realizing it's you.
That's
Oh, that was
awesome.
funny.
That's just incredible.
Oh, so let's go back and let's touch on the tattoo art. Kind of give us an overview of number one, how that started,
Mhm.
and number two, how you got from starting to where you are today.
Okay, so I got my first tattoo equipment. So I was getting tattooed for a couple of years and I went for it. Like my first couple of tattoos were like my whole leg,
Oh
and
wow.
then like I started getting my forearms done and I was 18. I had full sleeves like shoulder to wrist by the time I think I was 23.
Oh wow.
Um but so when I started getting tattooed, I was getting tattooed by a high school friend that got into it, and she worked at a shop with this really bizarre man. that we just hit it off. Like he was cool, he thought I was cool, and I started telling him that I was into comic books and art and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, bring me some art sometime." And I showed him some of my art, and he was like, "Dude, you should be a tattoo artist." He was like, I can help you get equipment, because again, this is a long time ago. It was long before you could just order things.
Right.
So he got me kind of an initial setup, and then was like, I can't teach you how to tattoo. I don't have the room in the shop, and I don't have the whatever. But he was like, whenever you come and get tattooed, I can give you pointers and we can chat and whatever. And it was a different time. Like tattooing is definitely very different. So I would get tattooed by him and kind of learn some stuff, and then I would go back to my apartment and I would tattoo my roommate, as well as I could, do it. I mean, there was no practice. Like the first time I tattooed, it was the first time I held a machine. Like
Wow.
it wasn't till much later that I was tattooing a couple of my buddies pretty regularly. And one of my friends, who's actually in the Cabal, I got him into Mythic Legions, which is awesome. Jericho Davidson. I tattooed him at my house, an awful tattoo now, but he had a regular tattoo artist that is now my boss. His name is Ed, and he was like, "You should meet Ed and like see if you can, maybe learn some stuff from him." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I went to a show. Me and his band played together, me and Ed's band. And then we chatted for a little bit, and he was like, "Hey, come down to the shop on Thursday, and I'll tattoo you, and we can talk about, your work stuff." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I went in on Thursday, and he started tattooing me and kind of just running me through what he was doing. And it was just a whole new approach to tattooing, because he was self-taught and just far more individual than the other tattooers I had met. And then kind of wrapping up the tattoo around the end, he was like, "Well, the passcode to get in is this." And he was like, the screen door sticks, but I'm going to go pick up my kids. And he was like, "Just don't do anything bigger than like a coffee cup." And then he like packed up and left. And I was like, I guess I work here. Like, okay. And that's how I have my current job. Like, I've been working with him ever since. And we've been through a couple of different buildings. We've moved. We've been through so many different employees. And then it's just been a learning process. I believe in art, whether it's painting or drawing or even digital art. I think that if you're not progressing and you're not learning just about every time you do it, then you've mastered it and you can stop.
Right.
So you might as well just stop. Yeah. I think that it's really important to just grow always. So tattooing has just been that. I've learned from so many different people and so many different styles, and it's been nonstop ever since I started.
That's
so
amazing.
It's like, that's been my journey. I got hired in a really weird situation, and then just kept working.
And getting better and better and better and better.
Absolutely,
and better,
yeah.
I'm sure, yeah. So right here, I've got some photos that you sent me, and we're going to share those. But we're going to take a moment here. I think that it's really cool. You and Brian Lynn have met through this community, and you guys are really, really great friends. And
yeah.
Amber, I hope you're ready to do the thing.
Got to hold on.
She's like, "It'll be just a second." But you and Brian Lynn have created a really close friendship, and we were talking about you coming on the show, and Brian Lynn reached out to me, and he said that one of the exclusives that's going to be available at Legions Con this year is a tribute to you and your friendship that you have with him, which is amazing. And that he wants to give away a Charbot. So you get the Charbot itself. And then he created a Charbot arm that is a tattoo machine.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
so
he is going to give one of those away on the show this evening. And so we're going to do that giveaway right now. I think it is so fun. And I mean, what a friendship. I mean, what an absolute amazing testament to you, David, that you have a friend that, you know, created something just kind of as a tribute to your friendship, which to me is, it's just beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful.
It is.
So I met Brian. I bought a couple of dials from him on Instagram. And then when he started doing torches, I think I ordered his first 3 torches. They were like wall mounted torches because I thought it was so cool. And I was like kind of trying to make dials. And so I just thought all of his stuff was so neat. And I think it was Legions Con 2022 was when we actually like met in person. And it was like, that was a weird year because it was like everyone was kind of getting to know each other, at least all the, for lack of a better term, like kind of the all-stars, you know, like the kind of mid to early cabal.
Yeah.
And so I would just run into him all the time and we would chat as much as we could. But I was like, this dude's way too cool. Like, this dude doesn't want to talk to me. I'm like weird tattoo guy. Anyway, we just would just run into each other throughout. And then we continued to have a relationship on Instagram or Facebook Messenger. And we would just chit chat. And, it just became this thing where it was like he's my bud, like he's my guy,
Right.
you know. And now it's like I would consider him one of my best friends.
The story, that's how people come together in this community every single time touches my heart.
Yeah, and go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's get this going, and then we're gonna finish talking about this, and then I'm gonna show some of your art. Amber, are you ready for us?
I'm ready for you.
Okay, so we are going to hashtag
The dopest arm.
the dopest.
Do you see it?
We see it.
I'm all yelling at you.
So hashtag the dopest arm. And we're not going to let this go on for like forever, but we are going to give you a few minutes while we talk more about David's tattooing and his relationship with Brian. And then we will come back and draw for this. And we do have another giveaway later. But I thought this was appropriate to put in here because it just so amazing. So amazing. All right. So let's take that one down. Everybody start hashtagging the dopest arm.
Do I
Amber,
just
can
stop
you
sharing?
pull that one down?
Got it.
There we go. Okay. All right. David, so you guys, I mean, really and truthfully, you just got a couple of things from him, and then you guys started talking.
Yeah, we became pretty close via messages. And then, you know, it was just, we would chat here in the, you know, in Legions chat on Fridays. And then last year we were like established. We're buds, you know, like we're cool. With what happened with the Charbot, and I think what made the whole thing kind of develop was because of our closeness. He let me in on it. He was like, hey, I'm gonna make this little robot and I have these arms and I have this stuff. And he was like, can I send you one so you can check it out? And I was like, sure. And the way that's designed, it has like the arms have pins and you just put them in and it can move up and down. But resin on resin it's like sandpaper. It might as well just be like, it just crumbles out. And so I recommended to him these, I don't know what I keep forgetting what they're called nipples from a tattoo machine. So on a tattoo machine, there's a needle bar, and then there's a needle, and you have to put it on. But as padding, it's a rubber nipple that holds the needle onto the bar that goes up and down.
Yeah.
And so I recommended to him, I was like, what if you use these rubber nipples for the arms so that it's not resin on resin, and then you can put his arms up and they'll stay, and you can put them down and you don't have to use blue tack or anything.
Right.
So he ordered those and resized the holes in the pins to fit those. And it worked out perfectly. Like it gives it like
Oh,
just a little bit of a little bit more friction in between the pins. And so because he's just the coolest dude, he started to redesign one of the arms to be like a tattoo machine. And he was like, do you think this is cool? Or, like, does this look right? And I was like, just blown away. And I thought it was so neat. And then through that, we established that we should, so I'm left-handed. So he only makes left-handed tattoo arms.
That's awesome.
oh I
which
love
is
that.
so cool. It's like the sweetest thing,
It is.
you know?
So, two things over here. Rob Zamora, Christian Bale is Batman. Changed my mind, David.
Oh, I try. I tend to be pretty opinionated, and I'll just I just don't care for Christian Bale's Batman. That's it.
So who's your
There you go.
Batman?
My Batman is either Michael Keaton, obviously the greatest,
Clearly.
or I think aesthetically, I think Ben Affleck's the best looking Batman.
Oh yeah.
Like, take out the stories, take out the movies. Like Ben Affleck is, Dark Knight Returns is my favorite comic book of all time,
Yeah.
and that's what he's based off of, But I don't know. I really liked Robert Pattinson
Oh,
too. He
dear.
was great.
That
Yeah.
was so funny.
But
Heinrich said
yeah,
Christian
I'd
Bale's
still-
number 2 after Keaton.
Oh my
no, it's weird. I still, in my mind, outside of the Michael Keaton Batmans and the Robert Pattinson Batman, now I don't really like any of the Batmans. Like I think Justice League was awful. I thought Batman versus Superman was awful.
Terrible.
I thought that I just didn't like any of the Christian Bale Batmans. But it's all aesthetic for me, and I think Christian Bale's mouth is too small. I think that's just what it is. He has like this little weird opening, and that's just kills it because the suit looks cool. It's black,
Right.
But again, this is like a whole thing. Like I could go on for an hour
That's cool.
about how Frank Miller's Batman is the greatest Batman, no matter what.
Well, Well, Frank Miller. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. So, and then Brian, one of the best comments of the night. Leave it to David to say nipple only twice.
Yeah, that's definitely a screenshot, and then just let somebody, then just let somebody cancel me. Like,
David's
Oh, that's
kid.
hilarious. Okay.
He said nipple only.
All right. Now, I do want to take some time because David very graciously sent me some of his art. And David, oh my gosh. Like,
Beautiful.
that is just, that is gorgeous.
thank you. It's from an album cover by a band called Mastodon, which is one of my favorite bands. And it was a request by somebody, and it was just a lot of fun to do. The pictures I sent you were just fairly recent tattoos, or tattoos I liked.
Right.
But most of the designs are, I'm lucky I get to do this every day. So it's like, that's just one of them, you know, like
Wow.
And
it's just a
again,
wizard.
yeah, holding that
No,
skull. I
yeah, he's
mean,
got, yeah, it's fun to be able to, once you kind of learn how to tattoo, you can start just making tattoos look the way you want them to. But it's really important to learn all the fundamentals of doing like clean lines and, you know, shading that doesn't get too muddy over time. You kind of have to like look at things as if they're gonna age, you know.
right.
So that's just kind of what I've done. Like I take the fundamentals of tattooing and I just draw my own stuff a lot of times.
So
Like
it's
this little hooded crow for no reason that I just like.
now. Did
That
somebody
is so
ask
cool.
for this, or
No, I
did,
drew that one. That was
okay?
just one of those things that somebody thought was cool that I drew. I do that sometimes on my tattoo Instagram. I'll just like put up images that I drew that I want to tattoo. And they're usually, to be honest, they're usually discounted. Like, so everybody loves a deal. Um, so I do get to tattoo a lot of my own work on people.
That's
Uh,
really neat.
yeah,
Oh, that's so
you
cool.
know, that was one of our Halloween tattoos. Every year we do like a Halloween special. I think that was last year, the year before. So I just did like 6 designs, and then they were just like $100 a piece or whatever. And then it's almost like a raffle. Like you have to like get there first. So
We've done a
Yeah,
couple
because
of
you've
those.
only got so much time.
Oh, I
I
mean,
mean,
received those.
yeah, but we try and go above and beyond. So like I said, I think this was $100, but it's you know, it's a pretty big tattoo.
yeah, it's,
Um, but it's more like an appreciation for our clientele that we do for Halloween. Just another wizard. I just like drawing wizards a lot.
Oh, I love that head.
Yeah, he's got a goat skull on his head or whatever that is. Some animal with horns. But it's I hate trying to take pictures of tattoos. I'm convinced it's easier to do a good tattoo than it is to take a good picture of a tattoo. So
Yeah.
that's the best I can do. And another wizard. Um, a lot of the stuff I really like is like those 80s tattoo magazines with like wizards and skulls and just like that
All
corny
my
fantasy
tattoos
stuff.
have skulls.
Yeah, you know, like they're just fun.
Oh,
And then
that's
you know, the Mighty Skeletor, that was a fun one I got to do. I also tattoo primarily in black and white now. I don't typically offer color, just because I enjoy tattooing in black and white. So that's why all of these are in black and white.
just amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, when David sent me those, I was looking through them and I was just so surprised at how just how amazing they were. Just love it.
I often tell my clientele that like I lead like 2 separate lives. Like most of my clientele just knows me as their tattooer, you know, and all of my toy people know me as, you know, the toy person that does tattoos. But you know, our group or just toy groups in general, a lot of them aren't really super into tattoos. Everybody's got them, but it's not that everybody's like super into them, you know.
So I am one of the
So
rare
it's like
creatures that does not have one.
and you know what? I think tattoos are so dumb. No,
I
you
am a
don't need
rare
one.
creature these days.
You can get one. You can get one anytime in your life. That's the best part.
Well,
But you
and I
can't
feel and I feel like if I'm going to get one, like I've got to
Mhm.
go to Tucson to get it. So
Sure.
I'm just saying.
Well, it's like you can always get a tattoo. You can't always get rid of a tattoo.
Right.
So
Yeah.
take your time.
Yeah.
There's no
I got
rush.
my first one when I was 18. As soon as I turned
Oh, yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom was so disappointed.
Oh yeah.
All right. The dopest arm. Let's see how many people we have. We have 36 people in the chat,
And 21.
and we have
I'll bring it back up.
21. So, yeah, let's bring that back up. All right. You got 10 seconds, and we're going to draw this. Anybody that's here that hasn't gotten in there, the dopest arm. Hashtag the dopest arm.
Dopest.
All righty. Let's draw for the Charbot and
Here we go.
the special arm.
One last
Yeah.
chance. And we're
Honor.
drawing.
Hey.
Joe! Yay!
Good job,
I
Joe.
was sharing.
Joe,
The cool thing
if you
is
will
that
see-
Brian can bring that to him at Legion's Con.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you, Joe, if you will see Brian at Legion's Con, he will make sure that you get your Charbot. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Congrats. He will make sure that you get your Charbot with the amazing tattoo machine arm honoring David Williams. That's awesome. Table 26. Table 26. Don't forget table 26. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Let's pull that down. All right. Let's see what else. What other questions do we have? So your brothers and sisters, I know that there's a huge age gap between some of you, but like, do they know like you're customizing? Do they have any ideas of like what you do when you mean your custom toys, your custom, your drawings, the things that you've done for Four Horsemen?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, how do they react knowing?
They love it. So so the only person that I told about Anthophilius was my sister. But I was just really excited about it, and she doesn't follow anything. But coincidentally, her son lives in North Carolina. And so she was like, well, I'm going to go visit Austin or Ethan that weekend. So can I come to the convention with you? And I was like, yeah, of course. That'd be awesome. So that's why she was in town. She was in town for her son, but then came to the convention because I told her it was going to be special. And that was her first interaction with all of that. And she went home, and my siblings have a general idea of what I'm about or what I'm into. They all think it's cool. I'm surviving, so they think it's fine, whatever I'm doing. So she kind of went back to the family and was like, you guys, you should have seen it. It was so cool. David and all of his friends have all this creativity, and it's like a whole group of people that are all into the same thing as he is. And it became like a thing. Like the whole family super, super supports it now. I think every one of my siblings sent me a screenshot of their receipt for an Anthophilius figure, which was really cute because they were like, they all ordered one.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
tried to
love
explain to
that.
them, I was like, they were like, do you get paid for this? I was like, no, it's not that. but but thank you for the support. No, they all love it now. They all think it's really cool.
That is so special.
Mm-hmm.
So have you like painted any figure, like did you customize or paint any figures prior to like Mythic Legions?
Not really. I always wanted to, and I would try, but it was like I never knew where to start. So I would like, you know, like there was a character, and I have him in a box in there. There's a character in Droids. His name was Thal Jobin, and he has like the Star Wars Droids cartoon. He has like a pink mohawk. And my childhood figure that I have, the sculpt has a bracelet on, but for whatever reason, I thought it looked like he was wearing a glove, but because the bracelet wasn't painted. So I painted his hand black so it looked like he was wearing a glove because I thought it would be cooler. So now that's one of the more valuable figures that I own that has permanent marker on his hand, but whatever. I would do weird stuff like that. I remember I took a guitar string and bent it in half and put it on a Boba Fett rangefinder
Yeah.
in the 90s Star Wars figures, little stuff like that. But I never like my first thing that I painted fully was a Sebadom head. Like that was like the first thing, and I just tried it out, But I've been collecting toys for so long that it's like I know what I want my toys to look like.
Right.
It was just a matter of learning how to get to the point of where my customs look like my action figures.
Right.
So it's fairly new to me. I've only been doing it for since about 2020.
So what was your very first Four Horsemen Mythic Legions figure?
So I was super into the 2000X stuff, the He-Man stuff, and I also collected Spawn like pretty obsessively. So I had all that. As far as Four Horsemen goes, I've known of them for the whole 25 years. My first Legions figure was during quarantine. I was on Big Bad Toy Store, and I just ordered one of each build. So it was like I ordered Calros, Snag, Hagnon, and the Elf Ranger. And the first one I opened was Calros. And that was it for me. I was like, this is the coolest toy I've ever held. Like, it's just like, it's a solid toy,
Right.
And the head comes off, and he's an orc, And then, so it was just like that. Like, I opened all of those figures and then immediately ordered whatever was left on Big Dad Toy Store. At the time, there was a lot. There was actually a lot of stuff. And then, and then my first custom was a dwarf that I just painted. He's like all gold and copper, but it was one of the Cavern Dwarves because those were in huge supply.
Yeah.
It was funny, for a while I was just using Thistlethorn bodies because you could just order him anytime.
Right.
For any goblin stuff. But also one of my biggest regrets is I paid $100 for a Goblin Legion builder in 2020. And then when the reinforcements came out, they were $25 or whatever. Because I didn't have that goblin, and I was like, I need it. And we had all that quarantine money,
Right.
Yeah.
That was a big time for collecting.
It really was. Things went crazy around that time.
But
so you first customized the Cavern Dwarf. I mean, as far as painting, like, how did you first realize that that was something that you could do? Like, what did you see somebody that had done one?
Oh
or-
yeah.
Okay.
I immediately joined the Cabal
Mm,
after getting a few figures in hand. And again, at the time, it was slightly different. So it was like it was a custom. Like every other post was a custom.
right.
And Jeremy wasn't working for the studio full time, so he was posting a custom every single day, and or every other day or something. And so it was just wildly inspiring. You know, like these people are so creative and so talented, and they all like the same things as me. So I was like, I want to be a part of this, and I want to contribute. So I want to make a character. So I made, that first dwarf, and then I did kind of my own take on a couple of Game of Thrones characters, and then really early on, I made a Man at Arms custom. That was the first time that I got like 80 likes on it or something. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Everybody saw it.
Right.
And but more so than likes and follows, it was the encouragement and like support that I got from the Cabal, that it was like, okay, I want to keep making these because I enjoy it, but I also have a place for them. Like they have a place that I can show them, and whether or not people enjoy them, it's still somewhere it's not just I paint it and put it on my shelf and it just goes away forever.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just entirely the community made me want to do it.
So how did you go from like customizing and painting and really creating the characters to like being a vendor at Legion's Con?
So in 2022, I started painting heads for Jeremy for Legion Shop, and he introduced me to Len, and me and Len hit it off. I don't know if you guys have hung out with Len LaGuardia, but he is one of the coolest guys on the planet. Like, he is just so rad. So we hung out a bunch in 2022, and then I started painting for Wolf King. And when Legion's Con 23 started or was coming up, he was like, "Hey, do you want a little section in the Wolf King booth for your heads?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So that was my first experience having like a booth, and it was just like, just like my little section with heads. And that was entirely thanks to Len. And then after the show, he was like, "You want to do it again next year?" And I was like, "Absolutely, like, no question. It's so fun." And then this year he split up Wolf King, and then all the people from Wolf King have separate tables, because I think he's focusing more on 3D parts this time, as opposed to letting us just take over the whole area, which is what we did ultimately. Like,
Right.
we just had all our customs and everything, so he dialed it back a little bit. So that's how me and Steven got paired together, because we were already standing next to each other last year.
Right.
So,
and Lauren, I'm sorry that we missed it. Lauren asked what your very first tattoo was.
my very first tattoo, I was 16. It was in my friend's house with a homemade tattoo machine, and I don't have it anymore. But the first thing I ever got tattooed on me was the word "punks" on my knuckles. It was PUNX, and I got it on my, because I thought that was a great idea. So I don't have that anymore. But so that was my first tattoo, my first professional tattoo. I got this like little star on the back of my neck, which I still have. It's just really silly and corny, but that was 1997, like, no, that was 98. 98 was when I got that.
All right, so I'm going to show a few of the customs. I went on the Cabal and pulled some of these down. They're not
Okay.
These is not by any means David's favorites or ones that he loves, or that these are ones that I went up and saw and grabbed them so that we could show some of his art here. I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there.
Cool.
But I thought this was, especially considering it's Halloween, I thought this was amazing.
Yeah. That was an old, I think that was Wolf King.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Legion Shop, but that was like those weird spider parts. I loved that custom, and he immediately fell off my shelf and broke into like a million pieces. So I don't have that anymore, but I do love that. That was a really cool kit that they put together. I think it was Legion Shop, but that they should do that for Halloween every year. That's a cool build.
That is a really neat build.
Mhm.
And then that was a commission for, forgive me, I don't remember who, but it was those were my action figure custom parts that I did for someone. And he just wanted to match it with the Equidron body. that was my another like Wolf King set. My first pet was a rabbit named Fruit Loop, which I named.
Oh,
What a
So that
beautiful
was
name.
Fruit Loop. Yeah, I was sitting at the breakfast table eating cereal, and they were like, "What do you want to call your rabbit?" And I was eating Fruit Loops. So I was like, "His name's Fruit Loop."
fantastic.
So that was my Fruit Loop custom.
That is awesome.
This guy will be at Legion's Con. He's just one of the painted heads I'll be bringing. I have a ton of heads that I'll be selling at Legion's Con. That's one of my favorite customs. Another one of the Wolf King mouse kits. Just a mouse wizard.
He is one of my favorites that I saw.
Mhm.
And then
Those are some Wolf King stuff that I did. Some of those might even still be on there for sale. I don't know. And I think that's just the Jaguarian head with like Torian body, and I did the Zombie 13 feet on him. I have those feet on all my Jaguar characters.
oh, that's cool.
And then that one's just Milena with a heads pack head, just to match, because I thought it'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful.
Thanks. I was just another random custom. The only difference on that is that I painted the top of the cross white.
Yeah, and I think that looks fantastic. Like
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, that just adds so much to that figure,
yes.
and it's such a simple way to make it a custom.
I'm sure that was a fun
Gorgeous.
one. That was my Torian repaint. Just to like, I don't know, mute his colors because he was so bright.
Yeah.
I've since put all of my legions back into like their normal configurations. That was one of the cool things about the part swap last year that they're doing this year, that Chris is doing, is I didn't have a set of blue Torian feet, and I was able to get them at the part swap.
Oh wow! Yay!
So I was able to put them back together.
So I know these aren't your cut. I mean, you did the heads. Jeremy posted,
Yeah.
but these are actually your heads, and then he created these characters from your painted heads.
Yeah, that was fun. It was really fun. It was a fun time when it was like we were all kind of working together. When Legion Shop and Wolf King was doing like a lot of painted parts, and they definitely established themselves as a place where you could get painted parts that were inexpensive, but you could create your own new characters without painting your own stuff.
Right.
So a lot of the times they ask me to just match specific skin tones, and then any of the colorful, um, the decorative stuff on the characters, they'd want to match some of the characters that were available for purchase. So you could just go online, get a new head, and put it on a swig, and now you got a different guy.
Right.
And that's my team. They're currently winning, the Minnesota Vikings.
So cool.
So I would like to say that this one touched a very special place in my heart because, my first customs were the mascots from the teams that are near and dear to me. So when I saw this one, it really I was like,
well, I got that idea. It was funny because it was like Michael Xavier is such a good photographer, but years ago he had painted up a New York Giants version, almost the exact same build, but it was just a photo he took that he is holding it. And he was like, oh, just a tribute to my favorite football team. And I was like, I want to do that too. I want to make my guy. So that's entirely Michael Xavier's credit to creating the idea of making your football team into a Legion's character.
It's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous and near and dear to my heart. This, though, David.
That's beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
So when Jeremy wrote the Thousand Swigs story, and then Terrence suggested everybody bring a swig to Legion's Con, I just decided I was going to make mine unique.
Yeah.
Because that was one of his recommendations. He was like, maybe if you want to make it unique, you can. So I just did it the next day. And I have an affinity for black metal music. And so I thought, that'd be perfect. Just all black and silver with corpse paint on.
Yep.
And I'll be bringing him to Legion's Con with me for the Thousand Swigs photo.
I cannot wait. David, this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Just beautiful. When I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. Gorgeous.
Yes. So fun.
Oh.
And that's one of my 12 unique relic guards. I'm such a sucker for Jeremy's storytelling, and I had bought I bought 3 relic guards because of the 2 heads, and then I was like, I'm gonna put a custom head on one, and then because of that, I was like, oh well, now I have to get all 12. And I thought it'd be cool to just do Legion's helmets all in that same metal color. And I currently have a display. It's just all 12 of them together.
That's gorgeous.
That's so cool.
But yeah, that was one of them.
I want to show you this because I saw that and immediately. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
My son went to a school here that's UNC Greensboro, and their mascot is Spartan. And
that's
so
awesome.
He's been after me to do a tribute to his school. So when I saw yours and how you had painted, the plume or whatever, I was like, I'm gonna show. But yeah, so that's awesome. Almost done. But yeah, I've been working hard on getting that done. But yours, I was like, mine is nowhere near as good, but it's really
cool. I was gonna say yours looks fantastic. That looks really great.
Yeah, waiting for Kevin to get back home so he can put it back together for me and we can take pictures because I can't do it. But anyway, yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I have enjoyed customizing, and the inspiration that I get from you and all of the Cabal and all of the customizers is amazing.
It's it's unreal how talented our group is.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just wild. Every time I open up Facebook, it's something new and something bizarre and creative and so well executed
Right.
that it's like it's inspiring to continue to make more, but it's also a challenge to like continue to progress, like get better at it,
Right.
just so you can keep up with everybody else, you know? Because I mean, we just have such a killer group of customizers.
They are. To me, it is crazy how the first year that we went to Legions Con, so Kevin talked me into going. We had a couple of figures, and I had seen an Artemis on a moose, and I was like, I gotta have that because
Mhm.
she is beautiful, and that moose is amazing. And so the first year we went to Legions Con, like he was trying to make sure that if we only spent an hour or 2 hours there, that he had a plan for the rest of our day because he didn't realize that I would get as into it as I did. But what drew me in was the art.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, they're little bitty pieces of art. I mean,
Mhm.
it totally baffles me how somebody can create something so amazing from something as simple as an action figure.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the figures are so like they have such a certain quality, you know,
Mhm.
like they to the way they feel in your hand. Um, and then just the fact that you have so many options and that they do make things like Legion builders that are
Mhm.
so much cheaper, that you just don't feel so bad if you're going to put a little bit of paint on it. And then
Right.
the way that people approach it with Jeremy saying like just paint the dots or start with the dots, and you know it, and once you do that, you're like, I guess I should do more, you know, like I'll do the dots on this character and then I'll do the stripes on that character, and it just snowballs into this thing where all of a sudden the toy line that you're collecting becomes like your customizing passion as well. So it's like when you go to order your figures, you're like, well, I should get 2 or 3 of these because I think I'm going to paint them or I think I'm going to swap their parts.
Yeah. It absolutely is amazing. And Amber painted her first head,
I did at RetroCon.
and it was beautiful.
I thought maybe I had it, but I don't. But thank
So
you.
she might get the bug and start customizing as well.
It was a lot of fun. But
Yep.
I had Patrick Boyle over my shoulder like, Amber, like do
That's
this. And
awesome.
I'm like,
And he's
all
an
right.
excellent customizer as well.
Oh yeah. It was a lot of fun though.
Well, the customizing studio on Sundays, you can have a lot of customizers over your shoulder going, Amber, try this.
Mhm.
Hello.
Oh, Curtis, Jeremy storytelling equals marketing mind warping.
Yep. Yeah.
And then JMax77 said, we need to see the other 11.
Oh my gosh.
I think I did post a picture in the Cabal.
With all 12
there,
of them?
yeah. There's
Okay.
it's definitely it'd be an awkward one to. Actually, you know what? I bet I could. Let me see. I'm on an iPad.
I also want to see your cat.
Oh, my cat is just. No, I don't think I can flip it right now. More. Oh wait, let's see.
Did you find it?
Front camera. You guys just like looking at my face. Back camera. So let's
Oh my
see.
goodness. There you are.
Let's see if I can pop this up. There's the
Oh.
12. Where are they at?
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
12 of
Oh,
them.
wait.
It's
Let
reversed.
me solo layout for this.
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's this direction. There we go.
Oh, David,
It's a bit
those are
dark.
amazing.
This
That's
is weird
awesome.
because it's on a reverse, so I'm like, yeah. So there's all different
Wow, what a
types.
cute.
Thanks, and then that's where all my toys are.
Oh, that's cool.
So everyone's gonna get dizzy.
All right.
There's my gaming setup. Let's flip me back around. There I am.
There you are. Oh, that's
Here, bud.
awesome. Okay.
And here's my cat.
Oh,
So sweet. All right, Amber, we need to do this next set up for this next giveaway because
I'm
it's
already
amazing.
ready.
Yay! So let's add it to the stage before you add yours to the stage. Let me show everybody what we're giving away. So Amber and I got a message from Curtis and Darla, and
Two of the
Darla
sweetest
has,
people.
I know, amazing. Darla has created something that is being seen for the very first time here on Legion's Ladies Live tonight with David. And there are very limited amount of these available at Legion's Con.
Mm-hmm. So
But
run, don't walk.
Run, don't walk. So if you want one, you need to grab it quick. And
And if you get there before me, get me one too.
the first one goes to the person who wins it tonight. And you can pick it up at Legion's Con.
Look at it, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
So it's about 3 inches tall from the top of the dome to the bottom.
Those are awesome.
Very limited amount. There's not very many. And
They're so cool.
there it is next to Val. I mean, oh my gosh. Does everybody want one? Because I know I do.
Yeah, those are
need
cool.
one. It reminds me of Dragon Tail so
I
much.
know. So cute. So this oh, I'm so excited. And Kevin is not here, so I don't even get to be in the running tonight to get one of these. Why did he have to go to Cancun this week when we were giving this one away? All right. Amber, bring up the
You got it. I'm on it. I'm getting real good at this.
You are getting good at it.
Darla's little dragon.
All right. So, hashtag Darla's little dragon for a chance to win the very first Darla's little dragon.
Yay!
All right. This is so adorable. Okay. Now, David, you being an artist have done and posted some amazing drawings, and if you're okay with it, we're going to look at some of those that you've posted in the Cabal as well. And
yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to change spots with you again because it doesn't matter if they can't see my face, but I definitely want them to see yours. All right. Some of these, I saw the color where you'd actually colored them in, but the black and whites are so gorgeous and so moody. So I just pulled the black and whites that you've done because to me they're my favorites. And these are just random drawings that you have drawn and posted, and they're gorgeous. This, of course, is Necronominus.
Yeah, me and Dusty Staniford. I don't want to say his name wrong. Staniford?
I think it's Staniford.
Yeah. We started talking about drawing or creating the hashtag Cabal Creations, like him and I forget who else was talking about it. Forgive me. Um, was talking about maybe posting art once a week. So I immediately went home and just started drawing characters, and it became so fun to draw these characters that I would just pick a guy and draw it. And it's kind of like if you search the Cabal Creations, it's typically all the wonderful art that we have in our community.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. And of course, I believe today was the first day that we saw this in package. And of course, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
That means they're
Oh, yeah.
close.
I'm excited for that wave. That was an old. Yeah, that one. You know what? I don't know that I ever finished that. But that was just an Atlas. Atlas is one of my favorites.
Gorgeous. I mean,
being attacked by goblins.
Yeah, it is so gorgeous.
Huh.
I mean, the attention to detail
Scapular.
on all of these is unreal. I feel like they could just kind of walk off the page.
Right?
They're the horsemen make it pretty easy. Like these characters look really cool. So it's like to draw them, it's just recreating something that's awesome already.
That's
I will
so
say
fun.
that the color one of this was pretty beautiful.
That was fun. Yeah.
But I mean, her face in black and white is just gorgeous. And this was fun.
Yeah, that's the Cabal monster. It has. I tried to include as many parts as I could
Yeah.
that you could actually make this character if you wanted.
Oh, that was fantastic.
That one I did. I did that one for Walter.
So cool.
Another Scapula. That's funny. Some of these I haven't seen these in a while. My Hagnon.
Yeah, the blue Hagnon, you didn't have the black and white, but you did have the blue, and it kind of looks translucent here. Just gorgeous. Like, I could see this being like one of the crazy good tattoo.
Yeah. I don't even know if I could do that as a tattoo.
It would be a crazy good tattoo.
And that's a shirt design that I'll have at Legion's Con.
Woo!
So those will be at my table. I'm not pre-selling them, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But because I don't have them in hand, David's going to bring them to me at the show.
Yeah.
But he sent me a sample, and his print for that is perfect. It's so good.
Oh, he's great at doing shirts.
Oh my gosh, they are amazing.
Wonderful. So good.
Oh,
And then
that's so beautiful.
This one was color as well.
Mm-hmm.
What a great figure. I mean, this is just an amazing figure. I would like for them to create that bottom half the way that
Like
you've
the
got
smoke
here.
bloom, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it looks like he's coming out of that, I mean, to me, that is amazing. And then this one is
Oh,
the last
that's my favorite skeleton, man. I love Tibius. I think he's
Yeah.
such a cool toy.
He is so cool. So cool. All right. So going off of your drawings and stuff, I wanted to shout out as well. People have contacted you and asked you to do drawings for certain people in the Cabal, things that, and one of the ones was you did the drawing for the Charbot for Brian.
Mm-hmm.
who's bringing these stickers to Legions Con.
Yeah.
And I don't have them all. There's a ton that you've done. Of course, this is my personal favorite.
Me too. Me too.
That was a fun one.
Because I think she's pretty awesome. Now,
Oh, and that was Guillermo, not Guillermo. I forget his name. It was on the post, but that was sent to me. That was we did the Christmas swap a few years ago,
oh neat, yeah,
and that
Oh,
was
that's so
that
cool.
was the box I got.
that's cool. I
which is
mean,
pretty cool.
let's go back because I want to talk about that too. So what other and I didn't find them all, like I said, but you've done the Cabal logo, right?
Yeah, I did one for Walter because we have the Slayer design where it's like the swords
Right,
and it's just a Slayer shirt basically.
right.
And we were talking about doing a new like band design, Cabal band design, and I did the Crimson Ghost from the Misfits. So I gave it like the eyes and the teeth. I believe that's a Wolf King sticker for now.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully maybe we'll see it on some stuff at Legions Con. I told them they can do whatever they want with it. So
That's awesome. And then you did Dork Layer's shirt. And hang on.
Tanya, don't flash us on the show.
I know. It was a little chilly in here, so I put the sweatshirt on over it. But I was wearing your design too.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was a fun one. Like I love Dorklair. Like I love that show. When I first started customizing, that was like the podcast I listened to as often as they released it. Because for a long time I think it was just audio, but I would listen to it all the time. So to now know Bill personally and become friends with Bill, and then get to do a design for him is like just another cool thing that came from buying, collecting action figures and joining this really cool group. So I believe he has an exclusive shirt that's going to be at Legions Con, along with pins that he used that design for.
Yeah, I think those are amazing. And then, but you've done several. I mean, your designs are going to be on several shirts. I think Brian showed a shirt today or yesterday that you designed the
torch.
The torch in the center for that was amazing. Like I don't know how it transforms from being, I'm a tattoo artist and you see your tattoos on people's body to being, just an artist and to see all of these people walking around with your design on a shirt or on,
It's really incredibly special. Like every time I catch one of the live shows and somebody's wearing the Dorklair shirt or any of the designs that I've worked on, Curtis wears the Charbot shirt a lot, which is on Brian's TeePublic. Stuff like that. It's just like it feels so good. Like it's just like seeing tattoos that I've done in the wild. Luckily, most of my clientele comes back, so I see them all the time.
Right.
But to know that this is like more nationwide is even cooler, and you'll see a YouTube show where people are wearing them, and it's surreal. It's crazy that like it's gotten that far, but I get excited every time I see it.
And even worldwide.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have designs and stuff going over to the UK and Sweden and I mean, I to me that is a testament of your art and what you do. But on top of that, what was it like when Jeremy said, "Hey, do you want to draw the pins?"
Oh man, that was so crazy. So Jeremy messages me like when he wakes up. So it's at like 5 in the morning. And so I wake up and I check my phone, and I'll be honest, anytime Jeremy messages me, that's the first message I open, because I'm like, am I in trouble? I just
Right.
assume I'm in trouble, you know. I've never been in trouble. That's never been the case. But if Jeremy messages me, I want to get back to him as soon as possible.
Right.
And so when he asked me about doing the pins, it was even weirder than that. He messaged me and said, "Hey man, let me know when you have time for a phone call." And I was like, "Okay." So wiped the sleep out of my eyes and called Jeremy Gerard. You know, like that's crazy. And we talked about the pin designs and like what he was thinking for it, and that they were going to go a different route with the packages this year because of, you know, plans that they had for other stuff. And so that, you know, they wouldn't have time to put together just a set of pins like conveniently. So they asked if I would be interested in drawing the pins, and it was a no-brainer, like of course, you know. And in that short period of time, drawing and redrawing to fit like their aesthetic and everything, like I learned so much in the course of like a couple weeks about how to put these together and how to draw them, and what looks good, you know, but not good like, hey, that's a neat picture, but what looks like Four Horsemen standard good, you know.
Right.
So it was a really cool experience to get to do that. And I can't wait to get them in hand. I think it's just another one of those Legions Con trinkets that you get to bring home that becomes extra special, you know.
Yeah, the design on each one of these that you did, and you know, they are gorgeous.
Thank
Just as a standalone, you know, photo or, you know, drawing that you did, just beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, it means the world. It's like, considering the ability that that studio has, you know, just the abilities that all of the people that work there have to offer, to be a part of that is it's hard to put into words how amazing that feels,
Yeah.
you know.
But when you see them actually done and on the sticker sheet.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's just really neat to see.
Kind of surreal, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. I am blown away. All right. We just have a very few minutes left. So one more time, I want to add to the stage Darla's Little Dragon. Again, from the bottom to the very top of the dome is 3 inches. Here it is next to one of the figures. All right, Miss Amber, do you want to bring that up and let's draw for that? This is awesome.
All right, here we go.
Oh, Kevin did make it in there. And I still didn't win. Mark, yay!
Yay, Mark.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, Mark, see Curtis and Darla at their table at Legions Con, and you will get Darla's Little Dragon. And thank you for being at this, being on the show, and for entering. We love giving things away, and this is amazing. Darla, thank you for entrusting Amber and I with your precious little dragon, so that we
Cutest
could.
little dragon.
Oh my gosh, so freaking cute. So that we could give it away tonight. You and Curtis are amazing, and we truly um, are excited. Oh, he's our Legion's Con neighbor. That's awesome.
Oh, that's
Um,
perfect.
so that does make it easy. Okay. Eric LeBron said, thanks to David for helping me to create my late night LeBron logo. That is awesome.
Yeah, it was
All
fun.
right.
I love Eric. I'll do anything he wants me to draw. So
He is a sweetheart.
We are not going to get into it here because, again, we have about 5 minutes left. I am very adamant about getting off at 9:30 simply for the fact that I get up at 4 a.m. on Friday mornings. So there's no way that I can stay up past 9:30-ish and then still survive tomorrow all day long. So we did not really, you did touch on it, and we didn't really get to talk about like everything that happened with the buzz off. So David, you're gonna have to come back.
I will do that. I would love to.
It wasn't an option. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
We have more questions. We didn't get to everything, so
That's okay.
Have
we're
a lot
just
more
we're just gonna
questions.
have to have you back, and we're gonna have to talk some more.
I won't mind.
That's such a hardship for us. It's gotta have David
Oh,
back.
no,
I mean, we would be thrilled if you would come
Sure.
back and talk to us again,
Anytime.
and we can show more of your amazing art and amazing customs, and talk about your buzz off and how awesome that was. Now, Kevin and I were sitting in the front row of IshCon when you were shown for the first time the new buzz off, and how awesome that was. And I have put the link on Facebook, so if you do want to go see that and watch David's face when he is at first introduced to the new buzz off, then please go check that out, because it was a sight to behold, and it was amazing, and it was just beautiful, just amazing.
Oh, for sure. It was unreal. Unreal.
All right, we have 2 questions, David.
Let's hear them.
Our last 2 questions of the night. Amber,
Let's do it.
go for it. What are our last two questions?
Oh my god. Oh, how big do you hope the dragon is?
I have my opinion on the dragon. I think it would be cool if we did it. If we got a dragon, it's 3 feet, but it's a logistical question. Like, it's like, if it's going to be 3 feet tall, you have to consider if it has wings, then are they going to be articulated? Are they going to be pop out? Are they going to be 3 feet wide? Is it going to be articulated anywhere besides the neck? Is it going to be fully articulated? We're talking about, like, if it's 3 feet tall, it's going to have 3 foot wide wings and all the articulation, or it's just going to be a statue. Like, I can't imagine how they're going to do it. Like, if they do a dragon, it sounds like a logistical nightmare. But if they do a dragon, I'm going to buy one, and I'm going to make room for it. So, whatever.
And lastly, so what is one thing you could tell us that you haven't told anyone else?
I thought about this when you guys asked Eric last time. And I was like, oh my God, are they going to ask me that? And I tend to be the kind of person that just tells all the time. But one thing I never told anybody is, let me paint you a picture real quick. There's a baseball field at a park that was by my childhood home. And my best friend's brother played baseball, and he was a total jerk. Like, him and all of his friends were just jerks all the time. But every time he had baseball practice, his parents would drop all of us off at that same park, and we would just have to entertain ourselves while he had baseball practice or a game. This one in particular was a game. There was a full game. There was people in the crowd, little league going on, and me and my best friend Joey are just tossing a baseball back and forth. And my friend threw it to me, and I missed it. So I went to go get it, and there was this huge electrical box, like right off next to the parking lot. And it had like one of those, like it had like a swinging door, and it was unlocked. So I lifted it up, and there was just a huge breaker. And so as a curious kid, I was like, I'm shutting this off. So I just put my fingers in there and I tapped it, and it shot down, and it shut off all the lights on like the entire field, like the whole park. And so I was like, oh my God. So I reached in and I pushed it back up. I reached up and I pushed it back up, and nothing happened. So the best thing I could think of to do was to run out to the parking lot and pretend that's where the ball was. And then I ran back to the park and was like, what happened? And everyone's like, what's going on? And they were like, somebody ran over to the electrical box, and the guy lifted up the thing, and he was like, no, we have power. It's just not on. I was like, what are you guys talking about? What happened? And they were like, something happened to the electrical box. We lost power. We can't turn it on for another 2 hours. The game's over. This, that, and the other thing. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. And then I just like went back to my friend and I threw him the ball. And I was like, guess we're going home. And he was like, okay. Like, I never told him that I shut the lights off. I never told anybody that I shut the lights off to the entire park.
That's amazing.
That's the best story ever.
Oh,
There is going to be somebody that is eventually going to see this, and they're going to be, that's what happened.
yeah, that's what happened to our little league game. Anyway,
It was
they
David
were
all
mid-game.
along.
Yeah, they were mid-game. It ruined the whole thing. It was like a big game too, I guess. I don't know. Who cares?
Oh, that's great.
That's funny.
David, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing the story. It was awesome. We
Of course.
truly appreciate you being here and just allowing us to just get to know you a lot better. We're going to put you off screen real quick, say goodnight, and then we will, if you have time, stay down there. We'll talk to you
We'll
afterwards.
close out.
All
Cool.
right.
Bye, everybody.
All right, Miss Amber. A great show tonight, right?
That was fun.
It was so
We
much
should have
fun.
him on more often.
I know. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Darla and Curtis, for allowing us to give away the best giveaways today. Man, I loved both of those. So thank you so much. And Amber, we are live next time at
Legion's Con!
Legion's Con!
Yay!
We are going to be live Thursday night after intern at the hotel somewhere. We will let you guys know more as we know more, but please, if you're at the hotel, look for us. We're going to be live, and we are going to have a guest with us that night. Sherry from the studio is going to join us that night, but we would love to see whoever is there stop by and see us as well. We're looking forward to it.
We both happy clap.
So 2 weeks from tonight at Legion's Con, it will truly be Legion's Ladies Live. Yay! All right. Thank you, everyone. We will see you later at Legion's Con. If not, then we will see you in the chat during the show.
Yes.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.